Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Annie and this is Tentative Tarot. In today's reading, we're going to get some predictions for the month of July. We're going to start with some overarching energy for the month just to see what you can expect, and then we'll pull some tarot to get specific predictions for you. And then we'll end with a Thera-pets card to find out if there are any little mantras or reminders you might want to keep in mind for the month ahead. So if that sounds good, let's go ahead and see what your pile options are for today. For pile number 1, we have this orange calcite heart. For pile number 2, we have this rose quartz heart. And for pile number 3, we have the red jasper heart. So if you need more time to decide which pile you're going to listen to, you can go ahead and pause the video now. Whenever you're ready, you can go down to the description box or the timestamps below, click on the timestamp that matches the pile you want to listen to, and I will see you there. Hi pile 1. If you chose this orange calcite heart, welcome to your reading. So we are going to start with some pre-shuffled oracle cards to find out what your overarching energy will be for the month of July, and then we will pull tarot to get specific predictions. And my voice keeps going. Fascinating. All right. For your first card, we have number 22, Balance Ambition. Give me a second. For your next card, we have number 19, Lemon Balm, Brightness. And finally, we have Held, Unseen Support, or Unseen Help, Support, Community. Let me just make sure these are straight. Okay, pile number 1. What is your overarching energy for the month of July? The first thing I want to say, besides I'm sorry that my voice doesn't work, this brightness card almost made me laugh when I pulled it out, because I don't know if you can tell, but this little candle here, the whole time I've had it lit, and I've had it lit for quite some time now because I was trying to see if it would actually like get a solid flame going. It is lit and it has been lit, as I said, for quite some time, but it's almost like timid. And it's so interesting because this other candle, which is like trying to fall, sad day. I'm feeling really scattered, and I'm feeling a lot of like external energy, and I want to say distraction, but that's not quite it. It feels like a lot of people and sounds and worries and all this kind of stuff tugging at my energy. And I think that very well could be what's going on in your energy right now. What I think is that you are an incredibly bright light. I think that you are fun. I think that you are desirable. I think that you are attractive in all kinds of ways. I think your energy is. And I think right this second, you either feel afraid to speak, afraid to shine, timid, hesitant, something. And that's okay. This is not an insult. We feel these ways for reasons. I think this message is coming through to say, I actually don't think that's going to be your energy in the month of July. And I wonder if you're feeling it really strongly right now. And so you're thinking, oh, well, this message is just going to be, either another positive message trying to give me hope when I'm really not in the place. Or you're thinking, yeah, well, I guess I'll listen to this, but I don't really foresee things getting better or being good or whatever it is. And I just want to say, I have so much compassion for where you're at. This really does not feel good. I wonder if it would help to call in some protection energetically, certainly. But I wonder also, like, are there people in your life who you feel held by, who you feel make you safe, who you can talk to about just sort of feeling like your energy is being pulled on by a lot of people, or yeah, just noises, energies, whatever else. But anyways, back to your overarching energy for the month of July. I think there's going to be a pretty big change. And I think it's coming, as I said, like either now as you enter the month or like pretty early on in the month. But I don't see whatever energy you're feeling right now continuing into the vast majority of July. I see you. Whoa, I am like really struggling. This is so not typical for me. Okay, hold on. I cannot help but wonder, pile number one, if you have got someone or something in your energy that like does not want this message to come through. Because this feels really extreme. And if so, I'm so sorry. I've called in protection around this space, but I'm doing it again right now. And if you wish to receive that too, I'm sending that your way. Okay. And we're back. I think one thing that is happening in the month of July is you are getting to a place with whatever projects you're working on, whatever you're devoted to. And I say projects, like that could be work, that could be creative, that could be a relationship, that could be, you know, building a happy home or foundation for your children, that could be saving up enough money to buy a new car or house, that could be, you know, getting a new kitten. I have no idea. But whatever it is that you're working towards, so something that you know you're investing in over time, whatever it is, I think you're getting to a point in that development where you are I don't know why I'm like not getting the right words for this, but essentially adjusting your sails. Not because it's changing what you're doing. I don't actually mean that at all. So that's probably why I'm struggling, because no matter what words want to come, it's not really capturing what I'm trying to say. I think as your goal becomes clearer or more in sight, or as you get closer to it, your energy is purifying, maybe is a better way to say. I think you're having your energy mirrored back. And how do I say this? Like, I don't want to suggest that you've been doing something wrong or anything like that. I think there have been some situations in your life, and they could be directly related to this, where you've been getting like direct feedback about this project or whatever you're working on. And or maybe you're just having like in other situations and other relationships your energy mirrored back, or both. But either way, I think it's like brought you to a place where you see some parts of yourself or some energy you've been carrying, and maybe even like this energy that's been coming in, maybe that's been clouding you. And so you're working towards this ambition, but either it wasn't coming to fruition or going the way you wanted, or you felt kind of stalled out in it, or it could just be that things are going fine. And now you're sort of adjusting and purifying because you're like out of the grips of whatever this was or has been. I think whatever it was causing quite a bit of self-doubt. And I don't know if that was conscious or not. But I think essentially the release of that energy is allowing you to have like more purified devotion towards this ambition. And it's going to help clarify and light the way and help you just more purely devote your energy to it with a lot more confidence. And again, I don't want to suggest you haven't been doing that. I actually think you probably very much have. So this is not like, me chastising you or something. Nothing like that. I think you're just going to feel more lit up as you do it, really. And more, like, yes, in a passion way, but also in your heart. I think you're going to feel more connected to it as a calling spiritually. I mean, if you feel that way about it, or just like connected to your intuition, I think you're going to feel held. And that could be from the people around you. I hope that it is, very much so. I think it will also feel spiritual. So by yourself, um, by your guides, by the divine, by ancestors, whatever you connect with, whatever energies. But the strongest thing I'm feeling is like a heart space that's glowing. And you have this like power and strength and courage to step forward on this path you've already been walking, but it's just like your head is higher. You feel more clear. You're not looking over your shoulder as much. Like, I think you've been devoted to something, and whatever this self doubt was, or, plug something else in there if that doesn't quite match what you've been feeling. But whatever that energy was that was around you, tearing you down. And I think for a lot of you, this was subconscious. I think this was like lingering energy from past stuff. Whatever this was, you were pushing through it, which is beautiful, but it probably felt exhausting. And I think in the month of July, you're going to feel like, yeah, I'm still working hard. Like, I'm still climbing this staircase, right? I'm still devoted to something that's going to take a long time, but it doesn't feel hard anymore. Not in the same way. It feels light because I feel held and protected and supported. And I think you're going to feel excited about it. That was a much more specific message than I was expecting for an overarching energy. But I do want to add, I think largely throughout the month, in all kinds of different areas, this held card is really calling to me, saying that, like, in all kinds of ways, you're going to be surrounded by community. And I do think this will be both internal and external. Even if your people are far away, I think you're going to connect with people. I think you're going to feel more connected to them, either when you connect or just in general. And I think that's because this energy dissipating, or actually, I mean, that makes it sound like the energy is doing something. I think this energy being banished and eradicated from your space is going to like enable you to feel the love that's around you and within you much more deeply. And I think that's going to be true in all kinds of areas of your life. I also think you're going to feel like you can go after the things that lift you up and bring you pleasure and bring you joy. I think that you are going to feel more beautiful or feel comfortable pursuing beauty in whatever way, like in whatever way that means for you. I mean, that literally could be like, oh, like I buy some new home decor, or I spend a little bit more time like getting dressed and putting my makeup or something. It could also be wanting beauty in your life, so spending more time in nature or in areas of the world that you find beautiful. It could be that you're spending more time in museums or looking at art. It feels like, yes, of course, we are beautiful on all kinds of levels, inside and out, all of that, yes. It also feels like you're allowing yourself to pursue beauty in a really like visual way without any shame. It's like, oh, I'm drawn to this. I like this. This brings me pleasure because of the way it looks or smells, or, these kind of more tangible, in these more tangible ways. And you're letting that be okay. It just really feels like you are surrounded by beauty inside and out on all kinds of levels in the month of July. And that like the world feels a little bit lighter and a little bit brighter than it has. And your heart space feels more lit up, more comfortable. yeah, like I don't want to tell you like everything magically gets fixed or you don't have to deal with anything hard in the month of July. But I do think there's a heaviness that lifts and you're slowly allowing yourself to say, oh, okay. Like color kind of comes back to your life a little bit. Yeah. Okay. We've already had some specifics, but let's get some more specific predictions for your month ahead. Let's see whether we find out more about this or whether they're all brand new messages. My heart goes out to you, pile one. I can tell that you are a really beautiful person who really feels the need to protect yourself right this second. And please don't hear me saying like you need to hurry up and get out of that energy. Nothing like that. Take it seriously and as much as you can, see what you can do to create protection for yourself and not feel disempowered by it. Like I don't mean tell yourself to feel differently about it. I mean like what can you do literally for yourself so that it does not disempower you. Okay, so for pile number one, we've got the Six of Crystals or Pentacles with the keywords synergy and gratitude. We've got number 17, the Star with the keywords peace and healing. We've got the Eight of Shells or the Eight of Cups with quest and renewal. These cards are so slidey and they won't be straight. We've got number 16, the Tower, release and revelation. And we've got number 18, the Moon, imagination and perception. Fascinating that we've got 16, 17, 18 out here on the table. And we got the Wheel of Fortune on the bottom of the deck. Okay. So for pile number one, ooh, hello. Specific predictions for the month. Let's get the Tower situation out of the way. Whatever this nonsense was that we started the reading with, I just saw 2112 if that's meaningful to anybody. Whatever that energy was, I think you're going to be really clear on what's causing it. If there are certain people or situations or patterns, whether it's energy from the past that needs to be released, but whatever is happening here, I don't see a tower moment happening to you. I see you knocking over a tower. That could be that you leave a situation, that you like end a relationship, that you like, cut someone off or set really firm boundaries, something like that. It absolutely could be. It could be that you leave a job if you're in a position to do that and something is really, toxic or problematic. It could also be, I don't know if this makes any sense, but I want to share this just in case. I've had the experience sometimes where I've been in a pattern of interaction in my life or with someone or with many different people, right? But it's because I have not been seeing myself or others clearly, right? Or both, usually both. And so the tower that then falls when I recognize what's going on might not even be visible to other people or might seem, I don't know. I don't think it would kind of match most people's traditional explanation of a tower. But essentially, it's like within me, what I'm knocking over is a pattern of relating. And so, of course, for some people, that might be like a dramatic change in my way of relating to them or in our relationship at all, right? If we even have one anymore. But I think the biggest like thing that crumbles and falls is like some sort of rule or belief or something that was within me about how I should behave or about who I was or things like that. So whatever the case, I don't know that there's going to be something that tangibly falls apart, although again, that absolutely could be true. But I think the strongest message I'm getting is that you are having a lot of clarity around what has been causing trouble for you, and you are doing what you need to do to release that. I especially want to say if you've been in some way making yourself small to fit somebody's expectations or into somebody's box. And again, I think if you have been, it was probably really subconscious. I don't think that means like your whole personality is fake or you wear a mask all the time, nothing like that. If there were places in your life where you realized you were playing small or you were too scared for whatever reason to be your full self, to be your true self, to not hide, I think that's the tower that's coming down. And I think what this is doing for you is it's really allowing you to heal, but as I said, on all kinds of levels and in all kinds of ways, and about all like it's going to affect probably every aspect of your life. So in some ways that will be very subtle and small, right? But in other ways I think that might be really significant. I think regardless, internally it's going to feel incredibly significant. And I think in the month of July you are going to be spending some time regenerating. And I think you're going to feel really held and supported in doing that. And I think that regeneration is going to feel less like this sort of like, oh, I've been wounded. I need to like go and, be alone and lick my wounds and, give this time. I mean, if you need that, of course, do that. But that's not really what I see here. What I see here more so is you saying, oh, like, this sucks and I don't want to bypass that. But I also realize that by this tower falling, it's enabling me to completely redefine what I want, what I deserve, how I want to interact with people, what I need. And I think you're going to really feel like, I almost want to say on accident, but maybe that's not quite right. I mean, you're probably a very intentional person. I think it will feel organic, maybe is more what I want to say. That you do find a sense of peace and healing in yourself. And you really allow yourself to say, oh, as I regenerate, as I heal from this, as I make these changes, I'm not just doing this in a reactive, protective way, although, again, do that as you need to, and that's like a fine component of this. But I don't think that's all this is. I think it's like, let me get to a space where I feel safe, where I can tend to my wounds or my needs or whatever it is, now that I have clarity about what it was that was hurting me. And now that I'm in that space and I do feel protected and I do feel safe and I am being held, let me actually regrow, if you will, in a way that is aligned with who I know myself to be, which is a really bright, beautiful person with a giant heart, with so much to give. And there's this interesting message coming through about generosity, really, where I think you are a really generous person, and I don't think that's going to change in the month of July, but I do think that you're going to receive a lot of generosity from others. Again, even just energetically, but I think you're going to feel really held by people who are currently embodied and by, energies. I think you're going to really know in the month of July how interconnected you are, perhaps positively and negatively. You're going to feel a lot more connected to your community. And I mean that in a really broad sense. I don't just mean like your people, although I hope that too, and I think that too. But I think like to your culture, to your country, to the world. I think you're going to feel like, as you recognize the ways in which that is true and that's been hurting you or keeping you small, you're going to lean on others for support. And I also think you're going to recognize the ways in which this will allow you to give back from a more whole place. And you'll recognize that like you're not alone in this. I just get this really strong sense. I don't know, my eye keeps going back to this Six of Crystals card. I am getting the really strong message that someone in the month of July is really going to come through for you in a really tangible way and make you feel like you matter, make you feel like you have somebody on your team. Like this could be a family member, this could be a friend, this could be a partner. It could, of course, be multiple people, but I see like one in particular, and I see it like not only a generosity from this person, yes, but I also see like you recognizing and feeling it like, oh, we're stronger together. And like me accepting help from somebody else doesn't mean like it's unbalanced, because other times I help them with other things. Or if it's not that kind of a situation, it's like, well, I pay it forward. But one way or the other, it's like we each do the things that we are strong in, and we can be grateful for that and not kind of, I don't know, worry that things are unbalanced in some kind of way. So I just really see someone coming through for you really strongly in the month of July, and you like being able to receive that with a lot of gratitude and without a lot of like worry that you need to, pay it back immediately, or do they think that I'm, I don't know, ungrateful or weak or a brat or something. I don't know. And if you don't have those hangups, don't worry. Don't take that part on. But if there's some way in which receiving is hard, you can fill in the blanks for why for yourself. But I think you're really going to receive with a much more, I almost with a much more open heart, but that's not what I mean. Like, not like you were, your heart was closed. I think your heart just had more fear in it. And I think your heart feels less fear. And so that enables you to receive. My eye also keeps going back to this, on this Eight of Shells, the word quest here. I wonder if you will go on some sort of quest in the month of July. If you do, I'm getting the message that it will feel like a quest for what lights you up. I want to say what turns you on, and you can take that on in all kinds of ways if you'd like. That I think like whatever part of yourself you've been holding back, in the month of July, you're like allowed to say, oh, okay, well, wait, what have I been missing? Well, what's out there? Well, what could I go after? Because you suddenly feel free to do it. And I think you feel safe to do it within yourself and with others. And so I think there really might be like maybe an intentional quest or experimental process or whatever, but trying to figure out what it is that really fills your cup and lights you up. And I see that being just a really lovely, joyful process. Like I'm having a hard time not grinning so much that it sort of hurts my face, and it feels like very precious, and it feels like it's been a long time coming, like something that you just haven't had the space to do, and maybe even haven't had the space to realize that you weren't doing. And so it feels like, yeah, like this exploring from a really heart-centered place in the month of July. This moon card here, I think a lot of what's going to happen for you throughout this, I wish I could tell you it was just beautiful and easy and none of it would feel heavy. I wish I could say that. I don't think that's what's happening here. I do think it might be a little bit challenging. But I think what will happen is you will sort of see as fears come up. And it doesn't have to be just fears. But like when we knock over towers, it's normal to have emotions around that, right? And of course, we want to be able to ground ourselves and soothe our nervous systems and all of that. And like I said, I don't think your response is going to be to go into hiding. But I think you might well have moments or days or hours or whatever it is where you're like, your system feels pretty flooded with fear or with, what ifs or future projecting in negative ways or things like that. First of all, please be gentle with yourself. That's, again, like incredibly normal, especially when things massively change, which I do think is you're in process of that already right now. But I think what's going to happen for you in the month of July is as that happens, you're going to see it for what it is. Because of these new stories or new ways of behaving, I think you're really going to be able to see through it and really say, okay, I want to be gentle with myself, but I also don't need to stay stuck. I feel this heavy energy, but it's not mine. And what can I do? And what do I need? And how can I tap into this healthier space? And I do really wonder if you're going to be leaning on, the divine or some kind of spiritual practice or guides or something. I do really wonder because I feel like I am getting lots of I think there will really be like real people in your life that you can count on a lot in the month of July. But I also think there's going to be this space where you kind of go inside and say, okay, hold on. God, spirit, universe, grandma. What I'm saying grandma as like an ancestor of somebody who's no longer with you. If you have your grandmas with you, that please disregard that. Or you know what? Go to your grandma. But I meant somebody in spirit. I think you're going to say, like, I'm in this space and it feels really dark and I don't know if I'm seeing clearly and my anxiety is really strong and it's making it hard to think straight. Like, can you help me? And I think what's going to really come through for you is not just like love and support, but also a whole lot of clarity, which is going to allow you to continue to step forward and keep walking up your stairs and keep being bright and keep pursuing beauty and happiness and love. Keep being able to receive and feeling grateful, right? So, as much as you can, please don't be hard on yourself when these moments come. Know that you're incredibly, incredibly protected and supported, not in some like vague way, but really, I think in the month of July, it's going to feel like you've got some kind of energy with you all the time in your heart whenever you need it. I also just noticed too that this card was number 19. So you've got 16, 17, 18, 19. Something is really shifting and really growing in your energy, pile one, in the month of July. And it's, like I said, it might feel intense. I think it will feel intense, but I think it will also feel there that will be punctuated with lots of moments of innocence and curiosity and exploration and excitement and gratitude and connection and ambition, right? That you're really gonna feel like you're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel if you're not already. And if you're in that energy that I felt when we started this reading, right this second, that's okay. That could be an invitation to call a friend, ask for support, get to know this energy within you, certainly. But I think throughout the month of July, that's what's coming for you. And you're going to walk out of that month feeling completely transformed because of this fire that you walked through. Because you were willing to knock stuff over and say, no, I deserve better. I want to be happy. I know there are people that love me. I don't need to put up with anybody or anything that asks me to play small. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and close out with a Thera-pets card. Just a sweet little animal that wants to tell you how loved and great you are. Let's see what we have for pile number one. We've got this beautiful lady. Just because you feel like trash doesn't mean you are trash. Oops, and then this one just fell as I tried to put it down, so you get to. Oops, sorry, let me not knock over more of them. You've also got just do your best. It will be enough. I think that's exactly right. I think that you are doing great. I think that this is intense stuff you're walking through. I think if you feel like trash, it's because somebody's icky energy is around you. And I think a new day is dawning as you walk through the month of July. So, pile number one, I'm sending you so much love, so many hugs, so much protection. This wheel is turning in your favor, I promise you. It might feel icky while it happens, and that's okay. Try not to be hard on yourself, but the change is coming, okay? So please take care of yourself. Have a wonderful month of July. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. If you would like to leave me a comment or subscribe or like the video, that would be lovely. But regardless, I hope that you take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, pile one. Hi, pile number two. If you chose this rose quartz heart, welcome to your reading. Today we're going to be getting predictions for the month of July, and we're going to get started with some pre-shuffled oracle cards to find out what the overarching energy is for your month, and then we'll get some tarot to see some specific predictions. And I just saw 222 on the camera timer. And then we'll just close out with a Thera-pets card to like get a little encouragement as you go into your month. Before we jump into all of that, though, I did want to say when I was meditating before this reading, I kept getting images that reminded me of when I was growing up, I spent a lot of time living in Florida. I don't live there now, but so lots of time at the beach, lots of time, seeing beautiful sunsets and being sticky and overheated and all these kinds of things. But I kept having this sensation of watching the sunset, like after a long day at the beach or something, and you're sort of exhausted because you've been out in the sun all day. But then there's also this sort of second wind and excitement coming. And so, of course, that could be like a literal prediction for your month of July. Maybe you're going somewhere on vacation or going to just enjoy some time at the beach or some sunsets. But I also wondered if that sort of second wind energy, like getting excited about what was next, was meaningful. So we'll see what happens, but I wanted to put that out there just in case. And I just saw 333 as well on the camera timer. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at your cards for your overarching energy. We have number 38, communication. We have number 6, rose, heart's desire. And we have the crowning, initiation, thresholds, rebirth. Just try to make those straight. Okay, hopefully that's mostly straight. So pile number 2, your overarching energy for the month of July. Right away, I'm feeling excited. And it sort of started when I saw the communication card, but then when I saw Heart's Desire, I got even more excited. And then with this this crowning card, it was like, I can like feel that my heart is racing a little bit. There's something about the month of July where this idea of initiation is coming through really strongly, but I don't feel like it's this long drawn out, like, oh, you're on a threshold, you're going to have to make a decision, or you're being initiated, so it's going to be hard. It doesn't feel like that. I mean, I do think there might be some intensity here. I mean, especially talking about the crowning and like thinking about like actual literal childbirth. And I personally had an emergency C-section, so I didn't have this experience. But from what I know, that is a really intense part of the birth process. Feel free to chime in if you have specific thoughts on that. But I think like what that's telling me, right, is that's like, oh, okay, like we're right there. And it's kind of like there's this final push, and then we have this new life. And I was sort of struggling with how to say that, because obviously that still sounds like giving birth to a child, like a baby child. But I actually think in the month of July, that's for you. I mean, maybe you are literally having a baby, in which case I hope that it's a lovely and positive experience for you, in whatever way it can be. But I think for the vast majority of you, it's talking about you, and that there's some kind of final push where you say, like, no, I'm ready to be this new person. And like I said, it feels intense, and it feels like you might be, having some kind of primal roar as you like tell the demons that are in your head. I was going to say, or around you. God, I hope there aren't demons around you, but if there are, I'm so sorry, and I'm sending you love. Tell them to politely leave. But sort of like telling the demons, screaming at the demons and telling them to go away. Like, this is me. This is who I am. I'm not going to stay trapped in these stories anymore, or in this past self, or whatever it was. And this is beautiful, right? Because I feel this amazing love for yourself and claiming of your own space. And this can be in so many ways, but it feels, like I said, I feel like there might be an experience that is really intense during the month of July, or maybe you're already experiencing that now. But I largely feel in the month of July, like you loving on yourself. And I was going to say feeling beautiful, and that might be actually like, you feel lovely in whatever way, but it's less of that and more like I just see this like beautiful feeling that feels so like such an intense and tender self-love, um, that like you towards all of the parts of yourself, all of the versions of you that you've been before, all of the fears that you've had or masks that you've worn or future dream versions of you, you to all of them and them to all of you. Like it feels like a beautiful love fest. Yeah. And it's funny because as I'm saying that, I feel less of that like intensity or like heart racing or excitement, but I don't think that's not present. It's almost like two things are going on for you in the month of July with this overarching energy. Like that's all there and it feels peaceful in a sense. It feels contented. It feels self-focused and it feels loving and it feels like you just claiming space for you and then basking in that in whatever way that means. And like for some people basking might be like kind of that image I had on the beach, right? And for others that might be a lot more active, and for others still it might be both, right? But then I have this, this communication card here, and I think there really is this sense that you are connecting with or communicating with people, perhaps somebody in particular. The mirrored energy feels really important, like both seeing in this image like it's the same woman, like reflected here. And I also saw 10:01 on the camera timer, so obviously that's a reflected number too, reflected number, so like that mirroring was emphasized as I went to talk about this. I don't think that means it's only communication within yourself, although of course it could be. I think the message coming through more so is that this beautiful self-love that you have is going to be mirrored, by other actual people in the world. I think this will feel really protected. And you can take that in a lot of ways. I'm not sure exactly what that means to you, but I'm thinking about roses having thorns, right? Um, there's something about the way this image is with the kind of leaves around these women. It feels like there's love blossoming, and that could be romantic, but it certainly doesn't have to be. But I think as you get to know people that mirror who you are and your beauty and your self love back to you, and you give back to them in that same way, I think like this feels very safe and this feels very protected and this feels like something that you can trust. And I mean, of course, check in with yourself and use your intuition. But I think, I'm not saying every relationship will feel like this, right? But I think if you feel this way in a relationship, your intuition will be on point with that. And you'll know that this is something that you can trust. I suspect there's some kind of anxiety that will come up through this in the month of July. And I think part of that message of protection is there to say it's okay, first of all, to go at your own pace. Like, listen to your anxiety when it comes up and see whether it is anxiety or whether it's intuition. But it also feels like it's like something for you to love and be gentle with. I wonder too whether you'll be expressing this anxiety to somebody, not in a like, oh my God, I'm so anxious, don't leave me, hang out with me all day, every day, or whatever it is. Um, I mean, look, no judgment, in the sense that I've been there and felt that way. Certainly no judgment, but also like, I suspect probably you, like me, don't actually want to behave that way in any of your relationships. Um, but so like seeing that part of you that comes up and being really gentle and loving with it and saying like, oh, like I know why you're here. And you're here because in the past, these situations have caused me pain. And again, that doesn't have to be romantic. It certainly could be, but I'm thinking of just like any time you've maybe opened up or let somebody really see you or really reflect things back to you. Um, Something in this like reclaiming of yourself, like you've brought out parts of yourself that you probably have hidden for a while and probably hidden for a reason, probably because you were hurt, right? And so as you're allowing yourself to blossom, when it's just you alone, I feel for the most part, like I said, there might be these moments where you're like, no, I'm not listening to, the ghosts of demons past. But I think then largely there feels like there's a lot of contentment with yourself and safety. And I think these cards are really coming through to say in the month of July, you're going to have at least one opportunity, if not multiple, where you open up with somebody who really mirrors you and trust them enough to say, like, hey, I'm feeling some anxiety come up, and I know that it's not about this, but this is like what I need from you. This is why I might, take more space or more time or whatever it is. But like you kind of navigating what you need to do to both honor your excitement, to honor the parts of yourself that you're ready to share and to show, and to do that in a way that feels safe. And also this anxiety that's coming up that wants to be healed, right? So all of that feels really beautiful. Like I said, really tender, but it doesn't feel heavy at all. It feels lovely and respectful and, like I said, both tender and exciting for your month of July. So if that sounds good, let's go ahead and look at the tarot and see if we can't get some more specific predictions about what's going to go on here. I always get a little scared shuffling on camera because I'm a little close to the flame there. And she does get excited. All right, for pile number 2. The first card we've got is number 8, Strength. Then we've got the Page of Shells or Page of Cups with the keywords intuition and inspiration. I don't know why I didn't say the keywords for the Strength card. We've got courage and endurance. We've got the 8 of Shells or 8 of Cups with quest and renewal. I really think pile 1 had that exact same card in the exact same spot. Interesting. We've got the 2 of Acorns or 2 of Wands with insight and focus. And then finally we've got the 9 of Acorns or 9 of Wands with power and perseverance. On the bottom of the deck, we've got the King of Feathers or King of Swords with logic and justice. I don't have room, so I'm going to put that to the side, but I can still see it. Okay. Like I said, 2 of these cards are repeated from pile 1, so maybe you were drawn there, but it feels like a very different energy, a very different message. Okay, so what is happening for you in the month of July specifically? My eye is going here first to this 9 of Acorns card. I think sometimes for me, the 9 of Wands can feel, that like wounded warrior energy people talk about. It can feel exhausting, like seeing the character's face, like in the Rider-Waite-Smith, right? Like they just look exhausted. And that is not how this animal looks to me. This looks like I know I'm almost there and I have clear sight on what it is that I want and I'm going to get it. This feels like a very it is just a matter of time because I'm clear and I'm focused and I'm not backing down. I know I said I was going to be specifics, but I do think this might be different things for different people listening. So I will say this. I'm getting a really strong message that if there is something that is on your heart, we've got this heart's desire, right? Something that's on your heart that you really want. This could be literally anything. I am getting this strong sense that in the month of July, if you don't get that thing already, which you might, for some of you, you might, but if you don't, you will have tangible evidence that you are right there, about to get whatever this is. So that could be if it's something where there could be a part way, it could be that. Or it could be that there's some kind of communication indicating that you're going to get that. like I said, I think there is tangible evidence in the month of July, but there also feels like this just like immense internal clarity. And so I don't know if that's like spiritual from you, like you're just very, very, very clear in your intuition that that's what's happening. Whether there are so many signs and synchronicities that you know it must be coming. And again, it's just a matter of time. But it doesn't feel like your energy to do with whatever this is in the month of July. And it's okay if this isn't consistent, of course, right? With anything we're manifesting or that we want or any kind of goal we have, of course, it's okay to have, days or moments or whatever where we have more or less confidence. But by and large, in the month of July, I see you laser focused and sure. And like whatever desire you have is lighting you up and keeping you focused. It doesn't feel like inordinate attachment, like any kind of like problematic attachment, right? It just feels like you know that you really want it and you're honoring that desire and you're letting it light you up. Like I said, you're letting it keep you focused. And even if you know, like you do have to wait on someone else or something else, or you're preparing in some way, I don't think that's bothering you. Again, if for the most part, I think largely you're like, okay, then this is what we're doing to prepare for that. Cool. And you're staying really, really, really focused on it. And again, I don't mean you're not like doing anything outside of that. I think you're also just not tempering that desire. When it comes up and it keeps you focused and you feel inspired to take action, you will. And then you'll probably move on with your day, right? Um, but it feels, I know I'm spending a lot of time on this card, but it just feels so deeply unapologetic. Like, I don't really care what anybody thinks. I no longer have time for any second guessing of myself or playing small or telling myself I shouldn't want this or worrying that I'm not worthy of this or anything. All of the things. It's like, no, I want this. When I feel that desire, I'm going to let it light me up and I'm going to ask what I can do to channel that desire into whatever action makes sense. And then I'm going to put it down and go about my day. And if that desire comes back, I'll do something with that, new burst of energy. If this is something where you are waiting on somebody or something else, I don't necessarily see you saying, oh, okay, I feel this burst of energy, like let me take action towards this and hurry this person or, group of people or, company along or whatever it is. I more so feel you saying like, like really getting quiet with yourself and saying, okay, like what can I do right now to move myself towards this? And maybe sometimes that'll be doing something in a completely different direction. I just saw 2222 on the camera timer. So anyway, I think if this is love, the messages here are strong. Or just anybody who's going to strongly mirror you, right? Doesn't have to be romantic love, but some kind of strong mirroring relationship or partnership here. It doesn't mean you're necessarily like hurrying somebody else along or hassling them or reaching out to them or whatever. If that's what you feel moved to do, it might be, right? But I think largely it's like you will know what to do with that energy. And so maybe you will clean your bathroom with that energy, excited to see that person soon. Maybe because you want your bathroom clean when you see them, and maybe just because your bathroom needs to be cleaned and you have some excess energy and it seemed like the right thing to do. So hopefully, I mean, I know that's sort of silly, but hopefully that example helps for you to understand what I'm saying, right? Like you might do something that's related, you might do something that's unrelated, hard to say, but it will be motivated by that burst of energy and by that desire. And you will feel powerful and empowered to take action in your own life with that desire energy, even if it's not directly towards making that desire come to fruition right now, if that makes any sense. Okay, so looking at these other cards, I do see you with this Eight of Shells or Eight of Cups here and the quest renewal. I do see you on a quest to renew yourself in the month of July, but I don't think it will take shape in the traditional sort of Eight of Cups way. I mean, it might, right? But I have the sense that you've probably already done a lot of walking away from a lot of things. I feel like it's going to feel less like, oh, I'm walking away from something in the month of July, and more like I'm on a quest in the month of July for happiness, for joy, for excitement, for this beautiful sense of self love. Although, actually, to be honest, I think you have that already. I think that's like a pretty strong energy going into the month, or that's going to happen early on. Um, or again, I think for a lot of you, it's something you're working through right now. And I think in the month of July, there's just this sort of fun, like, oh, like, what does the world have in store for me now? Um, Now that I've walked away from these things and told these ghosts to F off, I'm going to explore the ocean and see what it has to offer. Yeah. For some of you, I do think this is probably like vacation specific. I do think even if you're not planning something now, I think you might take some sort of mini trip, or if there's somewhere near water that you can go. So it doesn't even have to be like a trip, right? Like just within your own city or something, to go to a lake, to the shore, whatever it is. I see that for you. For some of you, I see creative projects specifically. So, like taking a class, like learning how to do something. Like I thought about pottery specifically, if that's meaningful to somebody. But of course, it could be any number of things. I also see gardening for some people. I almost see you walking through maybe like a farmer's market or something like that, or just like open air shopping and sort of looking around at things. And again, this could be because you're like exploring a new city or something. Um, it could be walking along the beach, as I said. It could be just in your own hometown. But whatever it is, you're kind of walking around and you're just taking in the sights, taking in the smells, seeing how you feel, seeing what catches your fancy, and just sort of being lighthearted about it. It's interesting, like almost juxtaposed energy with what I was talking about here, right? And it's funny that we've got the Two of Wands or Two of Acorns in between, because it does feel like it's two different energies, but I don't feel like you feel any amount of pressure to like choose between them or something like that. It more so just seems like, I want to say, like you're balancing between the two of them. But it's sort of important to me that we're not looking at the Two of Pentacles, right? It's like these are two things and I love both of them, and it's important to me to be pursuing whatever this desire is, and it's important to me to be just like in my own energy, enjoying getting to know myself and the world and my responses to it, and finding out what brings me pleasure and joy, right? So that energy is really lovely, and I think it's meaningful because I think you're growing multiple things at once. And I wanted to say specifically, one of the things you're growing is you, right? This new version of you, this rebirthed version of you. And I think, like I said, you're really holding that with a lot of tenderness and care, and that same sort of wide-eyed wonder that parents have as they like sort of watch their baby, see the world for the first time and experience things for the first time. It feels like you're doing that with yourself. And that's such a beautiful energy. And so I think a lot of your energy will be focused there. And then I think when you feel this desire for whatever this other thing is that's on your heart, and I suspect has been on your heart, I think this is something probably long-standing, seeing as we're at the 9 here. I think that you're gonna, like I said, like feel that energy, do what you want to do, and then go back to sort of exploring life and the world and how you respond to it and how you feel. And it feels like both things are important to you, and it's not like one is more important than the other. And yeah, you're just growing both. I also have this sense that you feel like, how do I want to say this? There's something about being in the flow with this that feels both intentional and also, that's not quite capturing what I want to say though. There's something about you letting yourself pursue multiple things. And it doesn't just have to be these two things I named. Those are the two that are coming through. But if other things are coming up for you, claim those. But there's something about you letting yourself direct your energy towards at least two different things. So I'll just say the two that I see here. And allowing both of them to be really important to you, that actually feels like it's helping you focus on each of them more clearly. And again, that's why I think it's important that this isn't the Two of Pentacles. I don't see you juggling. I don't see you overwhelmed. I don't see you feeling too busy. That's not how this feels. This feels like there are two things that you're investing your energy in that are both really important to you. And that, like, letting yourself do that and be in the flow with, sometimes I'm thinking about one, sometimes I'm thinking about the other, sometimes thinking about one helped me understand the other. Being in that flow with it is really, really healing for you. And allowing yourself to say, like, this doesn't have to be black and white. Like, if I'm getting to know myself, I can still manifest something else, or a relationship, or a mirrored, love, or whatever it is. And that clarity and that acceptance is also helping you move forward. Yeah, there's something here, and I'm having a hard time putting it into words, but there's just something here where it's like your energy is more clearly directed because you're allowing yourself to be where you're at. You're allowing your heart to love what it loves in all kinds of ways. And you're really, like, settling into your own joy, pleasure, desire, flow, balance, I want to say, within yourself again. And that is allowing your energy to be more potent. Yeah. All right. Now we'll go back over here. It's funny that I did the same thing when I was reading these cards that were, like, almost going backwards. I wonder if that has some kind of significance to somebody. I don't know why. I don't know what that would mean, but yeah. It doesn't feel, for whatever it's worth, and I know Mercury is about to go retrograde when I'm filming this, and probably when I post it will be retrograde. And I think for most of July it will be, but it's not necessarily that I feel like you're going back to the past per se. There's some ways in which you might, right? But that's not, like, what I'm getting from that. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm getting, but that it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like you're stuck in the past. It actually feels very brand new. I wonder if this communication or connection is with somebody from the past for you. Like, I wonder if you're reconnecting. Just because, like, these cards feel like they're tied up in this. But let's see. With this Page of Cups, I am getting the message that if there is somebody that you are wanting to reconnect with, to heal something with, somebody who you want to apologize to or you want an apology from, I think that's very possible in the month of July. I definitely see some kind of vulnerable sharing. So again, like, whether that's somebody coming forward from the past or whether that's, like, a new relationship that you're building here, I think that there will be some amount of vulnerability there. And even though it's the page and that's making me think of vulnerability, it's not making me think of immaturity or feeling surprised by your emotions. It's almost like you've already gotten to, like, the end of the Cups court cards, and then it's in this page energy simply because you're testing the waters in a relationship, or, like, allowing yourself to share these parts of yourself that you've hidden somewhat. So it feels like that sharing is new, and so it feels vulnerable, but I don't think it's because the feeling behind it or your, like, level of maturity or awareness with your own emotions is not there. My eye keeps going to the word intuition here on this card. And I wonder whether you will also feel your intuition really strengthened in the month of July. I'm more so getting a message, though, that you intuitively know what this is about. And it's funny, it's like I feel really hesitant to say, like, oh, yes, this new relationship is going to blossom and whatnot. And I don't know if you're feeling that same way, but I think that your intuition is telling you what this is or what's going to happen or what's coming next. And I think there's a sense that it might feel like a bit of a surprise when it happens, that, like, even though your intuition has been hinting towards it, you've been feeling some sort of doubt. Like, oh no, I don't think it's time yet, or I don't think love is for me, or I don't think I'm ready for love, or it's just too hard to meet, the right person or something like that. But it feels like there's going to be some kind of a change, some kind of a surprise for you in the month of July that your intuition has been sharing with you, but you just couldn't quite wrap your mind around. Yeah. And I know that's like a lot of people say, well, you like have to believe in something completely or it's not going to come to you. I think manifestation and attraction is a little bit more complicated and mysterious than that, at least in my own experience. I understand like why people are saying that, but it doesn't seem to me like you're in this like angry, doubtful, F you kind of energy. I mean, it's okay if you have those moments, but I don't feel that from you at all. As I said, your overarching energy feels really beautiful and tender. I think that what's happening here is just this like, I don't know, like I've believed before, or I've been caught up in fantasy before, or yeah, just I've thought I was being mirrored before. I've, you know, been told that my person is coming, or I was about to meet my soulmate or something before, and I'm just not quite ready to believe it. And if you're thinking that and feeling that right now, like sending you so much love, it does not hurt my feelings at all. I've been there, no judgments, not at all. But I do think I almost keep feeling like high priestess energy where it's like, I have been sort of telling you, but also it's okay if we keep this under wraps. And it's okay if you're choosing to keep it under wraps. And it's okay if you just want to fast forward through this part a little bit more, or just not really worry about it or listen to it or think about it again after this. But we've told you what's coming. And so when it comes, even though we told you, it's going to feel like a surprise and it's going to feel like a bit of a shock. And it's also going to bring you a ton of joy. And again, I think lastly, I wonder if this is sort of echoing some of this like anxiety I was feeling when we started, when I was talking about this kind of excitement, but anxiety coming up and all of that. I think it certainly could be some of that with the strength card here. I also think it could be speaking about this energy when I was saying with the crowning, right? Like when you're having this final push or primal scream of a, I'm not listening to these ghost demons in my head anymore. It could certainly be that too. I feel it echoing both of those energies. But largely it's that I feel you like showing up and letting yourself be seen in whatever way that is. But it's sort of like you having these moments of intensity or doubt, or, hearing ghost demons from the past whispering harsh things in your head, telling you things aren't safe or you need to be anxious or whatever it is. And you really pushing through them. You really like powering through them, but not in a like, I'm ignoring this way, in a really gentle, tender way. And saying, I know, I see you. I understand why you're anxious. Come sit with me on my shoulder while we push through this and do something new. And so I know that's not a specific prediction in the traditional sense of, oh, you're going to get a job promotion, or oh, you're going to meet the love of your life, or something like that. I do think it's specific in the way that you really are standing in your power in a really beautiful way. It feels like compassionate power, but it does still feel like power. I just saw 10:01 again on the camera timer, so there's that for you. I wonder whether that's being mirrored in other people around you, whether it's like this particular relationship we've been talking about, or whether that's just like in your job with your friends, whether other people are going through the same thing. But I feel this sense of courage that doesn't feel blind, and it doesn't feel like putting down the things that are hard, but it does feel like this, like, I see you, I love you. I'm not heeding your warning because intuitively I know that it's not real. Like, I don't need to be scared. And I really see you taking flight. You feel really free. Like in a psychic, emotional way, you feel free. So it feels so light. Like I said, it feels like you've left something behind already. I think there's whatever walking away you've needed to do, I think it's been done in a like literal, tangible sense prior to the month of July, probably. Like if this is resonating, you're either in it now, or I think actually like probably it's quite past already. But I think there's some sort of like, okay, now I am releasing whatever cords, whatever attachments, whatever stories that were still lingering. And as I do, now I am in this light, free energy. And that doesn't mean I'm not powerful and I'm not persevering and I'm not taking action. And that doesn't mean that I'm not, courageous and strong. It feels very balanced. It just also feels like your heart is free. Like, I don't know if you felt like a cage around your heart previously, but that's almost the image I'm getting. That your heart has been in a cage because of pains from the past. And it's like you've done this unlocking with this like beautiful love that you've shown and are spending the month of July showing yourself. And that's just letting your heart flourish and know that it's safe to be open and to be like outside of the cage, if you will. And I just see you soaring. Yeah. Okay, this is really beautiful energy. And I would seriously stay here all day. It feels like exactly what I said. It feels like watching the sunset on the beach and having had a beautiful day and feeling content and full in your heart, and then being excited to see what's next. Yeah, that is how it feels. So again, whether that's a literal image for some of you or whether that's metaphorical for everybody, I don't know, but it feels lovely to sit in. And so I hope you have a lovely month ahead. Let's go ahead and close out with a Thera-pets card. See if we can get just a nice little message to close out. Keep your spirits high, your confidence high. What do we get for group number 2? Oh, we got 2. We got, you are important, you matter, and your struggle is not an indication of failure. Oh, that's so beautiful. This one in particular, even though I know it doesn't say it, just made me think just now of like, it's not your fault. So if you needed to hear that, it's not your fault. If you were hurt in the past, sure, we're all human, we all make mistakes, but I think whatever happened was not your fault. You didn't deserve it. And you really reclaiming this love for yourself is going to demonstrate that you're not a failure. Yeah. Okay, pile number 2. I'm going to leave this here. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. If it resonated, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, and I'd love if you'd consider liking and subscribing. But regardless, I hope you take very good care of yourself. Have a wonderful month of July, and I will look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye. Hi, pile number 3. If you chose this red Jasper heart, welcome to your reading. Today we are going to get predictions about the month of July coming up. We're going to start with some pre-shuffled oracle cards to see your overarching energy for the month, and then we will pull tarot to get more specifics, and then we'll just close out with a Thera-pets to see what pet wants to wish you well for the month ahead. So let's go ahead and get started. The first card we have here is number 17, Ego. The next card is number 13. Is it going to focus? Basil, Abundance. And then we have Sub Rosa, Hidden in Plain Sight, Learning, Teaching. Just making sure those are straight. Okay. Pile number 3. Before I get into interpreting these, my energy feels so strange right now, and I'm wondering if this is your energy that I'm feeling. Of course, don't take it on if it's not, but I feel some strange mix of like reverence and also like jumpy or something. Not excited, not nervous, maybe passionate. Yeah, it feels like passion, but like it doesn't know what to do with itself. So it's just kind of churning itself throughout my body, kind of like I know that I'm excited about this, want this, love this, all of that, but I don't quite know what to do. And at the same time, it feels really holy. Like I said, I feel reverent. It feels sacred. And that could be about different things, but it feels like it's about the same thing. Like it feels like maybe part of why you don't even know what to do with all of that passion is because it feels so sacred. And it's possible that that's putting you in like a little bit of a perfectionist mindset, but it doesn't quite feel like that. It almost feels like this, just like, I need to just let this energy settle and like see it for what it is so that I can feel like intuitively guided about how to direct it. Is that related to our cards here? Let me see. It's like I'm having a hard time even taking in the information on the cards. The month of July feels very deeply spiritual for you, pile 3, but in a different way than I would usually mean or say that. I mean, of course, I think you can argue that everything is spiritual. So, with that statement aside, I think usually when I think of spiritual practice, I think of it being something that's done alone in meditation, or that is shared in particular spaces or ritualistic ways. Things like that. And I don't know that that's necessarily wrong, but that's not quite what I'm feeling here. I'm feeling this sense of like you experiencing everything in the month of July as imbued with the divine. And even different from what I said before, where like everything can be spiritual, which of course it can. But this feels different than that. Like this feels like you feel the imminent presence of the divine all around you, all of the time. And does that mean you look at the trees and you're like, wow, I see spirits in the trees? It could, but that's somehow not even what I mean either. It's like you see the trees and it's like, oh, God is smiling at me. You feel connected to a sense of oneness and wholeness. So you might well experience pixies and spirits and stone people, and I don't know what other kinds of spirits people experience. You might experience all of that, but I think the bigger point here is that you're going to see everything as interconnected. It feels like there's this shattering of a feeling of separation. And of course, I don't, we have this ego card, and so often ego can be problematic. And I'm not going to read out of the guidebook for this right now, but in the guidebook, it's probably tinged that way simply because this deck is often kind of about what things are you maybe not seeing that are in your shadows. Maybe that's why I said it that way. Maybe your ego, as like separate from other things, has been stronger than it's going to be in the month of July. And of course, it's important to have an ego and understand that you can be separate, right? That's like incredibly, incredibly healthy, especially when we're around toxic people, or especially when we're empathic and we pick up energy, or all these kinds of things, right? But what I see for you in the month of July is this shattering of this feeling of separation and this experience of everything being interconnected. And it feels like the universe is full of abundance for you. And that can be financial if you want to take it that way. But the bigger message I'm getting, and I'm not saying that isn't also part of this, but I think the biggest message I'm getting is like there are opportunities everywhere. There's love everywhere. There's connection everywhere. The world is full of abundance. And you feel more tapped into it and more connected to it, and like it's more possible to, I don't want to say have it, I guess, but to like see yourself as also abundant, to be part of it, to embody it, really. That feels more possible than it's either felt or felt in a long time for you in the month of July. I think you've been learning a lot about yourself. And I'm not saying that's going to end in the month of July, but I think you have been doing that. And I think that's a lot of what's led you to this place. And I think it's possible in the month of July that you'll have opportunity to share some of the things you have learned and are learning in whatever way. This could literally be just like chatting with a friend, right? It could be something bigger than that. You could be teaching in a more formal sense. But whatever the case, I think there's going to be some kind of an experience of fruition for you. It's almost like a closing of a chapter and an opening of a new one, but it feels more fluid than that. It feels less of a like rebirth type energy and more of a kind of organic shift as your intense ego boundaries dissipate and you connect more deeply with the oneness of the universe. Everything feels brighter and everything feels more magical. And I keep wanting to say, like, everything feels possible. So let's go ahead and look at the tarot and find out more specifics about what you can expect in the month ahead. You know, what's really crazy is when I was shuffling the cards before I started filming, I saw the Five of Pentacles card like 3 different times or something while I was shuffling. Like, it sort of just kept appearing when I would cut the deck and things like that. And in this deck, that card has a ladybug on it, which I often connect with the idea of miracles. And it was interesting, and it kind of made me wonder, like, is this related to the pile in this sense of like, you've felt like you didn't have enough? And that can be in so many ways. And then this energy is so different from that. It makes me wonder if that's really going to shift deeply for you in the month of July. And so you're hearing this and you're like, really? It's hard to believe. I don't know. But I think there's some kind of a shift that's either happening now or is about to happen that's really going to help you feel grounded and settled and connected. Yes, spiritually, but I think more tangibly than that as well. Okay, so we have the Four of Acorns or Four of Wands with comfort and community. We have number 20, Awakening, which is the Judgment card, with renewal and enlightenment. We have number 2, the High Priestess, with the keywords intuition and sacred knowledge. Number 4, the Emperor, with focus and stability. And finally, we have the Ace of Crystals or the Ace of Pentacles with manifestation and prosperity. Well, got 3 major arcana right here in the center. July is a big month for you. Let's talk about it. Pile number 3. Wow. The first thing I want to say about your month of July is I do think that this experience that I talked about as this overarching energy, I do think it's going to be an experience of awakening for you. And I love that I said it doesn't quite feel like a transformation, like it doesn't feel like the Death card, because it's this rebirth. And different from the way some people kind of characterize the Death card as like, you know, transformation and rebirth all in one. This feels like this, like, oh, I am getting a second chance, but in this second chance, it's one where I've released my fear and my self-judgment. And that's allowing me to inhabit and embody all of the parts of myself and allow them all to be loved. because I've gone through that transformation and I've learned how to love myself and I'm able to let some of my walls down and experience deeper connection because I'm no longer afraid. And I almost just wanted to say, you know, like a caveat of like, of course, you're gonna be afraid of things in the future and whatever else. But then I sort of stopped because I'm like, it feels more powerful than that. Like, I do think that's factually true, but that doesn't feel important here. Because I think the way in which you're embodying this enlightenment energy, you already know that. I don't need to say that. You're a human having a human experience, and sometimes we feel afraid, and that's okay. But there is a deep, deep, deep connection to yourself, to the divine, and others here. When I say others, it could be other humans, it could be trees and animals and plants and whatever else, all of it. That's allowing you to really just experience the world differently. So I don't know if there's like going to be a particular moment in the month of July where this happens. I'm getting a message about a full moon. I'm also getting a message about an eclipse, which is interesting because the eclipses won't come until August, but maybe the eclipses will be important for you. But whatever the case, I think you're going to at least start to feel this and inhabit this really strongly in a really powerful way in the month of July. I wonder, there's a full moon on, I'm recording this on whatever today is, the 27th maybe? There's a full moon on the 30th, I think. The 29th? Maybe it's the 29th. Whatever the case. I don't have my calendar in front of me, sorry. I feel like this is actually happening like right at the end of June. Like as you're going into July. Yeah. I feel like part of what this is doing for you, and this does feel connected to me, is it is bringing you in a deeper state of connection with your own intuition. And I suspect you're somebody who's already rather intuitive, or at least connected with yourself in some way spiritually. I think this is going to get supercharged in the month of July. I think you're going to feel like you see visions, like you know, have clairaudience or clairvoyance or claircognizance in a way that you're not used to having. So either it's going to be more frequent, more intense, or you're just going to suddenly have more experiences, or like different types of intuitive experiences or psychic experiences than you're used to having or than you've ever had before. I really keep thinking about visions though. I wonder if you're going to see things, even if you already sometimes do, like more clearly. It feels like more color, more detail. And I think it's going to feel like it's really coming from your heart space. Like I know for some people, at least certainly for me earlier in my life, having visions or feeling connected spiritually could be sort of overwhelming or intimidating or make me feel like I was sort of losing my ego boundaries. Speaking of ego boundaries. And this doesn't feel that way at all. So if that is something you've experienced, I don't think that's something you need to worry about here. This feels like you feel very protected, very tapped into your heart space. You feel very calm and very in control. You just also feel very tapped in. Now, in a different kind of vein or energy, I see you having a really good time with your friends or with your family or just your people in the month of July. And that could be in a way where you have something specific planned, especially, I mean, the Four of Wands sometimes can talk about like weddings or celebrations, something planned like that. It can talk about graduation ceremonies. So if there's something like that coming up for you in the month of July, absolutely, I think that's what we're seeing here. And I think it's going to be a really, really good time if that's the case. For some reason, I'm like, this is making me think of Christmas. I mean, I know it's the acorns, but I don't know. For some reason, it's making me think of that. So either you're celebrating Christmas in July, which good for you. That sounds like a lot of fun. Or you have that sort of feeling of, I don't know, it's making me think of like when everything feels a little bit magical, when you're in December and we're approaching Christmas and everybody's a little bit happier and there's music playing everywhere and Those kinds of things. I know that's not everybody's experience, but listen, I'm a small child and December feels like magic to me, okay? So don't even come for me. That's how this feels though. So there's something you're participating in or celebrating or spending time with people that feels like that. So it doesn't have to be a particular trip or a planned experience if that's not already in the cards for you or already in your calendar. I mean, it could be like a surprise experience or event like that, but I think if it's not something you've already planned, it feels like just like you going out having a good time, you know, seeing your friends and having a drink on the patio or these types of things. It feels really celebratory. It feels really relaxed and laid back. You seem just lit up and confident and comfortable, and I don't know, it seems like you're really spending time with people who feed your spirit. Yeah, who just make you feel loved, who see you on a deep soul level. And even if you don't talk about deeper, intense things, it just seems like you are having a really good time, having your cup filled, celebrating with people that you love. Over here with this Emperor card and the Ace of Crystals, I do wonder if there's some kind of stability that you're creating for yourself, something that you're manifesting for yourself. I wonder if there is some sort of financial prosperity here, since we got abundance and we've got prosperity there and we've got stability on this Emperor card. If that is something you've been trying to manifest, like more financial stability essentially, I do see that coming in the month of July. It might not be where you want to be, but I think it will begin. Or you will have an opportunity presented to you that will lead to that. So for example, you get offered a job during the month of July that then you're going to start later in August or something like that. But so like you know that that's coming. But I feel this a deeper sense of stability with this Emperor card here. It feels internal also. What am I seeing? There's something about this imagery that's really calling to me. I feel you sort of, I feel you standing on your own in a way that you never have before. I see you kind of saying, like, it's not so much about rejecting necessarily, although it could be, but like, you don't have to be rejecting what it meant to have stability or what adulting, you know, is supposed to look like according to your parents, your culture, your religion, what your friends are doing. It doesn't have to be a full out rejection of that. But I do see you a little bit like overturning who you thought you were supposed to be or what you thought you were supposed to do, and really just standing on your own and saying, like, this is the foundation for the life that I want to live. And so, like I said, I think part of that is internal because I think it's this like very solid decision of saying, like, this is what I want, what I need. This is what makes me feel grounded and stable. This is kind of the home space, the kind of relationship or family or friend circle or job or whatever it is that makes me feel like I'm the emperor of my life. And I almost see this sense of hesitation in you bringing that into the world, but not like in a, like you're hesitating because you don't mean it. I think there's just this sense of like, are people going to accept it? Are they going to push back? Are they going to be like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm not getting a strong message about how other people are going to react to this. And that might be because it's like different for everybody, or it might be because you'll get all kinds of different reactions from people. But I think like it doesn't feel like you're going to change what you're doing based on the feedback you're getting. It seems like you're gonna keep doing it anyway. And you're a little bit, maybe hesitant was wrong, maybe like wary of how people are gonna respond. But I think you're gonna keep doing it. And I think you're gonna keep building. Like I see you taking like really foundational strides towards some sort of foundation and stability externally in the world. And I think you're going to keep walking towards that regardless. You might just sort of be looking over your shoulder a little bit because the way you're doing it is a little bit different from what either you used to be doing, or what people have expected of you, or what you expected of yourself, or all of the above. I see something coming in for you, and this could be any number of things. This could be a new relationship, this could be a new job, this could be a new hobby, this could be, yeah, all kinds of things. But I see something like coming into your life, like something that, yes, maybe you've been trying to manifest, I don't know, but like some external person or company or entity or group or whatever offering you something, connecting with you, whatever it is, that's contributing to this. So again, if you're really wanting to change fields, right, in your career, and you're a little bit unsure about how people are going to respond to that, but you know that that's what you really want, you've been manifesting, and then you do get that job offer, I see you taking it, and I see you getting excited about it, and I see you just moving towards it within your own self and with your actions without question and without hesitation. But you're looking over your shoulder a little bit and kind of thinking, how are people going to respond to this? I mean, I'm going to keep doing it, but do I need to be worried about what people think? And that's okay. I think that's something for you to work through in the month of July. And I think also, or at least even just notice and be gentle with yourself as it happens. And it's interesting because, as I said, I think your overarching energy here is one of like deep connection and oneness. And maybe that's part of it, is you are feeling like you've let your defenses down a little bit more than you're used to. And so you might have this pause of a like, oh, well, am I still going to be loved and accepted if I do this? And I think by and large, the answer to that is yes. I'm not saying everyone's going to agree with it or everyone's going to like it, but I do think that largely you're going to feel like you're being supported in this. Certainly by the universe, because something is coming in that you're manifesting, right, to help you on that path. The other thing is, I think if people don't agree, you either won't care. I mean, certainly it's not going to change what you're doing, but you like realize it doesn't bother you that much because this version of having lower ego boundaries, again, like you're connected in this deep way of oneness. You're connected in this way where you don't have to fear people's judgments because they're not triggering those judgments within you because you've done a lot of work to heal that already. So I don't see you getting derailed by this. So you either don't care or you sort of send these people off with love. And I mean, you might have to be tougher than that to their face. I'm not sure how that's going to go down actually, but I think internally you'll sort of, your confidence will be very bolstered as you realize that nobody can really tear you down. And I just saw 111 on the timer, if that's meaningful to anybody. This does feel like such an interesting combination of like a deeply independent and self-directed energy, and also one where you feel very connected, both, like I said, in this like incredible spiritual way where everything is connected. I think you feel very connected to the divine. So whatever is going on for you, whatever it is you believe in, I think you'll feel very, very, very connected to that energy in the month of July. Even if you're not sure what it is you believe in, there is energy that you are connecting with that feels divine and feels like oneness and love. And I think you're also feeling very connected to your community and to the people that fill you up. There's still something about this Ace of Crystals card. What is it? Something about this, whatever you're manifesting, it feels like it's mirroring this change back to you. It's like this connection, this oneness. It's like, it feels less like this happens and then you feel this way, and much more like you're embodying this energy throughout the month, and then you have this moment where you manifest something and you're like, oh. It's not just a sense of oneness inside of my head and my heart. It's like actually happening tangibly in the universe. And I see your mind sort of exploding. Not so much because of what happened or what the offer is. Certainly it could be that, but that's not the energy I'm feeling. It feels like because you understand how deeply connected everything is, and your mind sort of explodes. Yeah. Like I said, pile 3, this feels like a big month. I mean, I think day to day, it feels like a lot of fun. I think you're getting a lot done. I think you're making big moves. And I think you feel pretty stable and pretty connected. But I think you're also going to like look back on this coming month, like later in the year, in 5 years, in 10 years, and be like, oh, wow, that's when everything changed. And I think everything has been changing internally for you for a long time. But I think you're going to look back on this month and say, like, oh, that's when my life changed externally. That's when things turned a corner. And I don't know in the month as it's happening if you're really going to see that you've entered a new reality. Because, like I said, I think day to day, you're going to be having fun with your friends. You're going to be building towards something that you've probably had in the works for a while. You're going to be spending time with your spiritual practice or whatever it is. You're going to kind of be walking around outside like, oh, wow, everything feels so lit up and bright. I feel so connected to everything and everyone, right? But I think sort of as the month goes on, you might have this sort of moment of, holy shit, I've entered an alternate reality in the best kind of way. I'm really getting the message that you guys have been putting in work for a long time. I don't know what a long time means to you, but I bet it's been years. And I mean, of course, everybody's doing healing and work and whatever else in some sense always, but I think I'm getting the message that there have been things that you've really, really put in the time, had the dedication and the devotion to work through for quite some time. You've met yourself deeply. You've worked through shadows and addictions and all of these kinds of things. You've really seen yourself with deep compassion. You've transformed your inner experience. And I think that's why I started with the energy that I had. There is a deep reverence here for the work that you've done, for the person that you are. I hope from you to yourself, but I think also from the divine, from your guides, certainly from me to you. And there's this excitement of like, okay, well, what am I going to do with all this beautiful energy I have inside of me? And what you're about to do is step into a brand new life. This is really beautiful. I want to just sit in this energy all day, but I think those are all of the messages that I have for now. So let's finish out with our Thera-pets card, just to get a nice little reminder that you're loved and wonderful, that you can take with you for the month of July. So for pile number 3, we've got, well, every group got 2. It's like I try to flip one, but 2 decide to come. So here are your 2 Thera-pets. You've been doing a great job considering all you've been up against. Absolutely. That totally echoes what I was feeling right here at the end. And then also, you have survived every day of your life so far. You really think today will be the one that defeats you? So, same thing. You obviously have done a ton. I don't think there's anything that can be thrown at you that can defeat you. You've done incredibly well. And now it's time for you to actually see that reflected back to you in the world. I think the month of July is going to be incredible and transformative in the best way. And I hope that it's wonderful. Okay, pile 3. I'm going to leave this here. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. If you enjoyed and you'd like to let me know in the comments, I would love to hear from you. If you would like to like the video or subscribe, that would be amazing as well. But regardless, I hope that you take very good care of yourself. I hope that you have a wonderful month of July. And I will look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care. Bye.